Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at a property inspection report for a
Okay.
place in Baltimore,
Sounds good.
913 and Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
And
All right.
this was a row house that was purchased by Shawna Fredericks
Okay.
back in February 2019.
All right.
Now what's really interesting about this is that the place was marketed as newly renovated, but the inspection uncovered some pretty surprising issues.
Oh, wow.
So,
like they renovated it and then there were still problems.
yeah, well, I mean, that's what we're going to find out today.
Okay.
So let's start with the roof.
Okay.
Always a critical component,
Yeah.
especially in a row house where everything's,
Yeah. Sure.
so interconnected.
Yeah.
The report describes actual water
Oh.
dripping into the rec room.
Oh, wow.
Not exactly what you want in a freshly renovated space.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So what do you make of that? Well, a leaky roof is a major red flag,
Yeah.
especially in a row house, like you were
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
because everything is so interconnected.
Right.
And, it can lead to serious long-term problems,
Like what?
mold growth,
Yeah.
wood rot,
Mm.
and even structural damage if it gets into the walls or the foundation.
And that could be really expensive to fix, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're talking thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how bad the damage is.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how this could have been missed during the renovation.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It kind of raises concerns about the quality of the renovation work and whether corners were cut.
Yeah.
Because, a competent contractor would have addressed that
For sure.
as a matter of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just about fixing that immediate leak. It's about, is this just the tip of the iceberg?
Exactly, yeah.
Have to wonder what else they missed.
Right. And so the report recommends tucking the existing flashing into the brick properly and adding new flashing where it's missing. Okay.
Sounds like a job for a skilled roofer
Yeah, for sure.
who understands the specific challenges of row houses.
Absolutely. And finding a good roofer in Baltimore is really important.
Yeah.
You want someone who knows what they're doing.
Now on to something that honestly gives me the shivers,
Oh.
the stairs. The inspector described them as flexing underfoot.
Oh, that does not sound good.
Doesn't sound too reassuring, does it?
No.
So, what's going on there?
So the inspector pointed to the stringers as the problem.
Okay.
So stringers are those boards that run along the sides of the stairs,
Okay.
and they support the treads.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, they're just not thick enough to be able to handle the weight that they're bearing.
So
So they're bending under pressure.
you're saying that, like, if you're walking up the stairs, they're like,
Yeah, they're like bouncy and flexing.
oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's not good.
So imagine you're having people over for a dinner party.
Right.
Wow.
And they're like tentatively walking up the stairs.
Yeah, and they're like,
Yeah. It's not a good look.
not a good first impression.
Yeah. And,
And also kind of dangerous, right?
it is a safety hazard.
Yeah.
So the report actually suggests two options here.
Okay.
One option is to replace the entire staircase with a more sturdy design.
Okay.
And the other option is to reinforce the existing stairs by adding some additional support.
Gotcha.
But both of those, you have to really think about the structural integrity of the house.
Yeah.
And they should only be done by a qualified professional.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's move to the guest bedroom,
Right.
where the inspector found a noticeable dip in the floor.
Uh-oh.
I can only imagine the guest trying to discreetly avoid that spot.
Yeah, you don't want to be the one who falls through the floor.
Right.
So uneven floors are tricky.
Yeah.
And the report recommends removing the flooring to get to the root of the problem.
Okay.
So it could be anything from uneven joists to a settling foundation,
Which is more common in older homes.
which is more common in older homes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what's lurking beneath those floorboards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Yeah. And if we were Shawna, we'd be holding our breath hoping it's a minor fix
Yeah.
and not some major structural issue.
Exactly. Because with a row house, if you have a settling foundation in one section, it can affect the whole structure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like a domino effect.
So this seemingly minor dip in the floor could actually turn into a much bigger problem.
It could, yeah.
Yeah. And we've all seen those home renovation shows where they peel back a layer of drywall and find,
Right.
a whole,
A whole nest of problems.
yeah, a whole nest of issues that they weren't expecting.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to have a thorough inspection, especially when you're buying a renovated property.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that what you see on the surface
Mm.
reflects the true condition of the house.
All right, well, before we get too overwhelmed by these major concerns, let's move on to something a bit more manageable.
Okay.
A leaking bathroom vent. We've all been there, right? That sinking feeling when you see water coming from somewhere it shouldn't be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, What's the verdict on this one?
So this one actually seems pretty straightforward.
Okay.
The report says it's most likely a faulty vent cap,
Okay.
which is a relatively minor fix compared to repiping the entire bathroom.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a relief.
that's a relief.
Still, it underscores the importance of regular maintenance.
Yes, definitely.
Something as simple as checking those vent caps and making sure they're properly sealed can prevent a lot of headaches.
Absolutely. Preventative maintenance is key
Yeah.
to keep those minor issues from becoming major problems.
All right, now on to the issue that feels straight out of a horror movie.
Okay.
The sounds of animals scurrying around in the ceiling.
Oh, no.
The report points to the chimney as the likely entry point.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Especially in an older house.
It is an older chimney with large openings.
Yeah, chimneys can be a prime spot for critters who are looking for some shelter.
Especially in those colder months.
Especially when it starts to get cold, yeah.
So squirrels, raccoons, even
Yeah.
birds can find their way in through those cracks and gaps.
You don't want them as roommates?
Not the kind of housemates you want.
No.
I can only imagine the sounds keeping poor Shawna up at night.
Right, all that scratching and rustling.
So what can be done about that?
So the report recommends enclosing the chimney with some wire fabric
Okay.
to prevent animals from getting in,
Okay.
but still allowing for airflow.
Gotcha.
It also says it's really important to get a full roof inspection
Okay.
to rule out any other potential entry points.
So you're saying address the immediate issue, but also take preventative measures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want it to happen again.
And I guess things like installing a chimney cap
Yeah.
and screening vents
Oh.
can make a big difference
Huge difference.
in keeping those unwanted guests out.
Yes, definitely.
Well, so far we've uncovered a leaking roof,
Yeah.
questionable stairs, a potentially problematic uneven floor,
Yeah.
a leaky vent,
Great.
and some uninvited furry house guests.
Wow.
And this is just the beginning.
oh, no.
What other surprises does this inspection report
I
hold?
don't know.
Stay tuned as we continue to delve deeper into the world of 913 and Bradford
All right.
in just a moment.
Sounds good. So before we move on, there's another layer to this story.
Okay.
We haven't really talked about the fact that this report was prepared for Shawna Fredericks
Right.
as an expert witness.
Oh.
So there's a legal dispute here.
So this isn't just a case of buyer's remorse.
Right.
There's a potential legal battle
Yep,
brewing in the works.
Yeah.
This adds a whole new dimension to this situation.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that newly renovated claim is at the heart of this dispute.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. And the issues we've discussed, although they seem kind of minor on their own,
Right.
they really start to paint a concerning picture when you take them together.
Yeah, it kind of makes you question the quality of the renovation overall.
Yeah. And whether the seller was really upfront about the property's true condition.
Exactly.
It's like those home renovation shows,
Yeah.
where they excitedly demo a wall and then they find
Oh, yeah.
faulty wiring or plumbing issues
Yeah.
or even like structural damage.
Yeah, it's like, what else is hiding?
Right. And so what aspects of this situation do you think Shawna's legal team would focus on?
Well, they'd probably be looking at building codes and standards to see if the work was done properly.
Uh-huh.
And if the proper permits were obtained.
Okay.
They'd also be investigating whether the seller knew about these problems and didn't disclose them, or if they deliberately concealed them during the sale.
It makes you wonder what else might be lurking beneath the surface.
Right, like if the roof and the stairs and the floors are having problems,
Yeah.
what other shortcuts did they take?
Right. And this really underscores the importance of having a comprehensive inspection
Oh, absolutely.
by a qualified professional.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially with these renovated properties.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking for cosmetic imperfections.
Right.
You need to know about the structural integrity
Yeah.
and the quality of the work.
Yeah. Newly renovated doesn't automatically equal problem-free.
Exactly.
Buyers need to do their due diligence
Yeah.
to avoid inheriting a house full of headaches.
Absolutely. This is a cautionary tale for both buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
Buyers need to be wary,
Mm-hmm.
and sellers have to be honest.
Yeah. Transparency is crucial in any real estate transaction.
For sure.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Yep.
and talk about the human side of the situation.
Right.
Put yourself in Shawna's shoes.
Yeah.
She thought she was buying her dream home only to find a laundry list of problems.
Yeah. That's going to be so stressful.
Incredibly stressful and disheartening.
Yeah. It's more than just a financial burden. It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, there's that sense of betrayal,
Right.
the stress of dealing with repairs,
Uh-huh.
legal battles, the disappointment of having your dream home turn into a potential nightmare.
It really impacts your sense of security and well-being.
Yeah, it goes beyond the physical structure of the house.
And
Absolutely, your trust in the whole system.
yeah, it makes you wonder, like, if this can happen with a real estate transaction,
Right.
what other pitfalls are out there?
Exactly. And so I think Shauna's experience raises some really important
Yeah.
questions about the real estate industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
What are some broader lessons that we can learn from this situation?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of pre-purchase inspections.
Yeah, you should never skip that step.
Never, no matter how perfect the property seems,
Yeah.
a good inspector can spot problems that you would never see.
And finding a truly reputable inspector is crucial.
Oh, yeah.
Someone who is thorough,
Yeah.
experienced,
No.
and who genuinely has the buyer's best interests at heart.
Exactly. You want someone you can trust.
So do your research,
Yeah.
get recommendations,
Yeah.
ask potential inspectors lots of questions
Yep.
to really understand their approach and their expertise.
Absolutely.
Another important lesson, I think, is the importance of clear communication between buyers and sellers.
Yes. Communication is key.
Transparency is key.
For sure.
Sellers have a responsibility to disclose any known issues, and buyers should feel empowered to ask questions and get clarification on anything that seems unclear.
Yeah, honesty and open dialogue can prevent so many problems down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive into 913 and Bradford,
Well-
what have we learned? Well, we've learned that even in the world of real estate, things aren't always as they appear.
Right.
Thorough inspections,
Right.
clear communication,
Yeah.
and a healthy dose of skepticism can go a long way in
Absolutely.
protecting yourself from those costly surprises.
It's a good reminder that these transactions involve real people
Mm-hmm.
with real emotions
Yeah.
and aspirations.
Buying a home is a significant life event.
It is.
It's important to approach the process with both caution and optimism.
I like that.
But what about Shauna's predicament?
Right.
What can she do next
Yeah.
to navigate this very complex situation?
Mm-hmm.
We'll explore those possibilities when we return in just a moment.
Welcome back to our deep dive into 913 and Bradford. We've uncovered some real surprises in this newly renovated row house.
Yeah, quite a few.
From that leaky roof and shaky stairs to a possibly troublesome uneven floor and even some uninvited furry guests.
Sounds like a lot to deal with.
It does. And so we left off talking about Shauna's next steps in navigating this complex situation.
Mm-hmm.
What are her options here?
Well, it seems like she's already taken a really proactive step by getting that detailed report.
Right from KMA Associates.
Yeah, exactly. And that document's going to give her some solid evidence
Yeah.
if she decides to take legal action.
So what would her next move be?
I'd say consulting with a real estate attorney.
Okay, so someone who specializes in real estate law here in Maryland.
Right, exactly, because they'd be able to give her the best advice.
Yeah. Okay.
Based on her specific case and the laws here in Maryland.
What legal avenues could she consider?
Well, there are a few possibilities.
Okay.
She could try to negotiate a settlement with the seller.
To cover the cost of repairs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if the seller's not willing to cooperate,
Right.
or if those negotiations fall through,
Mm-hmm.
she could file a lawsuit.
Okay. Alleging things like breach of contract or misrepresentation.
Exactly.
So it sounds like this situation could range from a relatively amicable resolution
Right.
to like a full-blown court battle.
It could, yeah.
Wow. What factors would influence the outcome of a potential lawsuit?
Well, the strength of the evidence is going to be really important.
Okay.
Also, the specific terms that were outlined in the sales contract,
Mm-hmm.
and then Maryland's laws regarding disclosure requirements,
All right.
all those things are going to play a role.
So her attorney would need to prove that the seller knew about these issues and didn't disclose them,
Yeah.
or that they deliberately concealed them during the sale. This whole situation really highlights the importance of carefully reviewing that sales contract
Absolutely.
and understanding your rights as a buyer.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of buying a home,
Oh, for sure.
but you really got to be careful.
Yeah, don't hesitate to walk away from a deal
Mm.
if something doesn't feel right.
Exactly. Or if the seller's being evasive,
Yeah,
or if they won't address your concerns.
right. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you're making such a big investment.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into 913 and Bradford,
Okay.
let's leave our listeners with a final thought.
All right.
If you were in Shawna's shoes, what else would you investigate?
That's a good question.
To fully understand the renovation work and the seller's actions,
Hmm.
would you look into building permits, Maybe talk to previous owners.
Possibly.
Or even get a more invasive inspection
Wow.
to uncover any hidden problems.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, the answers might surprise you, and they could help ensure that your dream home doesn't become a renovation nightmare.
Great advice.
Until next time, keep diving deep.